send a photo of their penis for $2,500. They reject it.
No, I want to die.
Maybe
Let's call them E-Gandalfs.
E-Gandalf.
E-Gandalfs, yes.
Hello, and welcome back to the Cybernews Weekly podcast. This week, we've got brand new research from our in-house research team about the not-so-anonymous Al-Anon, a platform to help those impacted by addiction. A few days ago, Pavel Durov was arrested in France after a criminal investigation into Telegram. We will talk a little bit more about his arrest and what that might mean for Telegram. Scammy psychics are all over social media, as fraudsters are imitating popular online psychics to extort their victims. And one hacker came up with a foolproof plan to get out of paying child support. He legally died and now faces years behind bars. Joined with me this week are my colleagues, Ginteris.
Hello.
And Jurgita.
Hi.
Hello. So, a great concept, which I didn't know existed before.
Me neither.
No. Where people can freely discuss how alcoholism has impacted their lives. But it's different from AA, right? Like, it's not necessarily about you struggling with your addictions. It's about other people struggling with other people's addictions, right?
Well, in a way, it's also about you struggling with your addiction, meaning relationship to that person who's probably close to you and affects your life, right? Having an addiction. So, whether it's your parents, a spouse, anyone else, like a friend who are you close with, right? And this is a support group. It functions in nearly every country. So this is a huge organization, right? And people just gather together and talk about the problems that they experience, having an alcoholic, let's say, spouse. And their goal is to live their lives, without sacrificing themselves, helping that alcoholic, deal with their own lives. So, it's a very, very sensitive group, obviously, the same as anonymous alcoholics are. And because it's sensitive and also probably there's some stigma around it, people want to stay anonymous, as, its name indicates, right? And so this organization, Al-Anon, it accidentally but exposed quite a lot of records belonging to, those people who attend the meetings. So I'll just go through a few key takeaways what happened here. So, they accidentally left a database exposed. That means that it was on the internet. Anyone could have accessed it without having any credentials, any password, right? And we know that malicious hackers, threat actors using bots and other kind of automation can access such databases in mere seconds. We don't know whether that happened in this case, right? It's impossible to know at this point, but we know that it's been exposed for approximately 5 to 4 days. So there was enough time, right, to just discover that database. We know for sure that it didn't happen on purpose. No one hacked into the organization. It was just a misconfiguration that led to this data being exposed. Now, what data we are talking about? In total, over 200,000 records were exposed, and some are very private data, right? So this included, for example, private chats, on that platform. So this is, definitely a highly sensitive material, and, that makes people very vulnerable. Also, there were names and dates when these people joined the organization, also passwords, but they were encrypted, emails, some other sensitive data points. So the organization secured that data set when we notified them of the breach, and this was very cool, right? But what we see as a problem as well is that they didn't actually make any public disclosure, meaning that there's no notification like on their website or anywhere else. where they would actually acknowledge this happened. Also, they didn't reply to my emails asking where I was asking for some comment or confirmation or denial that this happened. So this just made us wonder whether they informed those members that might have been potentially affected, because in case where your passwords, even if encrypted, emails are exposed, you kind of need to be aware, because you need to stay vigilant for like phishing emails and all other kinds of threats, including identity theft. So that remains a question here for us.
Yeah.
Also, on I think on one of the registration forms on that website, it seems that they still require quite sensitive information. You wouldn't think they would actually require from you, like your address and postcode and full name.
And what I found weird was I downloaded one of those registration sites, and it says for the online meetings, can you give your username and password? Which I found a very strange thing to give.
I mean, you do enter your password when you enter whatever platform.
Yeah, but on the registration form.
On the registration form, it's quite... Well, are you sure it's not like creating your password?
No.
So you have to have the password from before somewhere, right? I don't know, but it still seemed a little bit irresponsible, I guess. And the thing that you're talking about your GitHub, that they didn't really disclose anything on their website publicly about the incident, and then now it's still out there, and maybe people who are members they'll find out from us that their information has been exposed or whatnot. It might discourage people from taking initiative and going somewhere online to discuss the issues, maybe with their dad's drinking or
you are never
friends.
You are never truly anonymous online. That's one thing. Also, we are talking about highly vulnerable people, right? They are dealing with a huge problem in their lives, and now their emails were exposed, so they are like perfect phishing attack target, right? Here they could be attacked with spammy fake emails about offering some mental health support or some other like services that would be actually designed and crafted just to steal their data and money, because it's bad when threat actors know your email and know your weakness.
And
that's one side of the equation, but then there's also an issue of public shaming, a potential public shaming. Someone in school, let's say some asshole, to be fair, like gets his or her hands on that database and realizes that his or her classmate's dad is maybe an addict, and then, being cruel as kids are sometimes, right, decides to publicly shame that person because your dad drinks a lot.
Also,
and then that's even more horrible for a young person who is really vulnerable.
Yeah.
Do you know how many teenagers commit suicide? Jesus Christ. I mean, that's a lot.
Although I don't think that could be a problem here. Again, technically speaking, data set was exposed for like a few days, and if you weren't like a threat actor specifically looking for those open data sets, it's highly unlikely that someone in your neighborhood or at your school found this data set. If it was discovered, I hope not, but if it was, it means it was discovered by some malicious hackers for financial purposes. So at least maybe public shaming could be avoided in this case. But anyhow, this is very, very sensitive.
Also,
matter.
with the personal chats and things like that, surely threat actors could exploit that information that you've given in private to kind of orchestrate a more sophisticated
social
attack.
Yeah, of course.
So that's also not good at all.
Yeah, nothing is cool about this.
No, really not.
The fact that people need to go and join those groups, and because of the pandemic, everything shifted online, and everyone got used to going to online meetings instead of doing that in person, and also the fact that they were exposed, and the fact that they ask for so much data. Why would you need that? And I just hope that maybe hopefully those joining the group, they didn't actually say their like real names, surnames, and maybe had some dummy email. But
we just can't know that.
If you promise anonymity, I feel like people are more forthcoming. Maybe if they're not aware of the potential risks, they're more likely to give their actual information. If you're being told, hey, your anonymity is our top priority.
Well, Telegram promises encrypted chat, so
Oh, yes. Oh, yes,
Yeah,
indeed.
about that.
About that.
just empty
Yeah.
promises, isn't it?
Yeah.
So,
true.
our next topic is the arrest of Pavel Durov, the founder and CEO of Telegram, a truly wild social media platform, I'd say. He was arrested in France this past Saturday, and it is really unprecedented so far for any head of a large tech company to be detained. But the French actually did it, brave as they are. Yes, and for a few days now, personalities and I don't know, blue chips on Twitter or X are screaming about free speech and censorship. Elon Musk is active about it.
Lex Friedman.
Well, you
surprise.
name them, yeah. But the French prosecutors are actually pretty precise in their statement. It's a long one, but the most important parts have to do with the fact that the arrest is related to Telegram's failure of or unwillingness to curb criminal or harmful activity on the platform. And the accusations, not charges yet, he's supposed to be held and detained until Wednesday night at the shortest, and maybe his arrest will be prolonged. We'll see. We're recording this on Wednesday, so we don't know his fate so far. So the accusations include also improper use of cryptography, which we will come to later, and also failure to allow authorized law enforcement interception. As we all know, law enforcement has the right to demand certain information related to certain crimes if they're proven in democratic countries. So Telegram, what is it? Is it, like I said, it's a truly wild, chaotic space on social media, and it indeed attracts a lot of drug dealers, crypto crooks, extremists, even pedophiles. And the uniting factor basically is that all of them are fleeing tighter restrictions and moderation on rival platforms such as Facebook, WhatsApp, YouTube, and all of those American evil ones, as the Russians would say. For instance, there's this Estonian investigative journalist, Holger Ronema. He did a nice experiment on Telegram a few months ago. He and his team created a new account and started looking for a job. On Telegram, I mean. They joined channels that were directly about jobs in Estonia. So here's what happened. They were quickly offered to, 1, carry migrants from Belarusian border to Germany. 2, to scam Swiss people out of their savings. 3, launder money by allowing unknown people use their bank accounts. 4, do different drug-related gigs. 5, send a photo of their penis for $2,500. They rejected. So
I did not expect that at all.
why not? Like I said, it's truly wild and criminal. Bottom line, Holger says, is that Telegram has made it so easy. I mean, we can imagine it as a sort of a dark web for dummies, really, because it's so easy to do illegal stuff on there. You don't need to know the dark web to buy or sell drugs, find quick criminal gigs. It's a gig economy, really, underground gig economy, right? And even if you're a Russian secret service looking to hire people for sabotage ops in Europe, it's very easy, and it's probably wild enough for them to catch some fish in there. So this is the situation with Telegram right now. It's really, really, really chaotic and smelly. For instance, this Megan Squire, the deputy director of data analytics at the Southern Poverty Law Center's intelligence project, recently told Financial Times that on Telegram it seems to be actual crimes going on.
Yeah.
So it was also mind-boggling how much they seem to get away with this, and that's also one of the key things, because it's been really wild out there in a way that there's like around 30,000 extremist groups on Telegram operating, and everything is being sold there illegally and legally, yeah, sure. And it was a bit too much for the French, I would presume. There's this also new European Union regulation, kind of banning especially highlighting refusal to cooperate with authorities. And Telegram seems to not have been interested at all in cooperating in any way with the French government. And one has to also say that the French also have a special kind of mistrust of Telegram because it was used for coordination by the terrorists who carried out the 2015 attacks in Paris. So, I mean, it's...
Hits a nerve.
Yeah, it hits a nerve, and they also just have laws which they have to
Yeah.
follow. And if Telegram doesn't, or any other kind of app doesn't, then it's an issue that has to be solved, I guess. Yeah, on to encryption stuff. Do you have anything to say? Because one of the reasons these weirdos and criminals have been attracted to Telegram in the first place, yes, there's less moderation. It's a hands-off approach. But there's also a myth, let's call it that everything is encrypted and secure and you will not be like intercepted by any kind of law enforcement anywhere in the world. So you can freely trade shit online on Telegram, really.
Maybe even literally.
Maybe even literally, yeah.
And they do. I think, you know, a lot of criminals and dissidents alike flock to Telegram because Durov has been seen as such a fighter and actually as a Western person, right? So Telegram was banned in Russia for quite a long time, right? And he had
2 years, and not even Telegram itself was banned. People could still use the network. The third-party APIs were banned.
Well, yeah, of course, it doesn't matter that, you know, something is banned. You can always find your
way around it. Yeah.
It's not that difficult and not that complicated. So many companies that left Russia or as VPNs were banned in Russia, they still, function there. But I think it kind of added to this persona, you know, that I don't know, like he fights the governments, right? And he repeatedly said that WhatsApp and other companies have like governments have installed backdoors in those companies, meaning that they can get all the data they want at any point, right? But yeah, and Telegram has been criticized, I think, since 2016 for its marketing, right? Because it is marketed as a highly secure messaging app, and if you would read reports on mainstream media, everyone keeps saying that this is encrypted chat app, and it's not wrong.
Yeah.
It's not fake news, but there's more to it. So first of all, it's not enabled by default as opposed to other messaging apps like Signal, let's say, or WhatsApp. You need to turn that on, that feature. And as we saw, from cryptographers sharing their experience and knowledge on the Telegram, it's not that easy. Like you need to go through 4 or 5 steps to actually enable it. And imagine people who are not really, into this or don't even know what encryption is, they don't go through the trouble doing that, right?
Yeah.
It's not privacy built in by default. The feature is there. Also, you can enable that encryption, but only in private conversations, meaning that if I'm chatting with you, Niamh, that can be private, but if we're having a group chat, you, me, and Gintaras, it's no longer encrypted, right? Which means that it does stay on my phone and it's kind of private until a law enforcement comes and asks, Telegram to hand that particular conversation over, and when it's not encrypted, it means that it is readable,
Yeah.
Because when police get their hands on some encrypted data, it's useless to them. They can't read it, and when they get, data from, let's say, group chat from Telegram, that's quite easy readable and but
and for every single private conversation you have to turn the encryption feature every time.
So you can't just
do it
a
like
one-time
default
thing.
It's not a default. Yeah, you have to do it every time.
So there's quite a lot of
private
effort
chat.
for something that gives the illusion that your privacy is protected.
Well,
and that
and
it's
also it
encrypted.
depends what you are using Telegram for, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
of course, dissidents, refugees, whatnot, people who flee regimes, they definitely, know encryption better, and they know how to protect themselves. So at least they put an effort there, But other people, it's not something that you would do, right?
If you're not an expert, you wouldn't care even about it.
And,
right?
and
Also, if you're being told that it's, or
yeah,
you know, if you're
that's
being told that it's
hypocritical as well. Yeah.
People
encrypted,
believe.
then you would believe it
Yeah,
because you think they can't lie to me about
But
this.
also, Telegram is widely used for group chats and social media channels. It's extremely popular here in Lithuania because we check war news and Ukraine, between Ukraine and Russia, right? There's a lot of fake news, but these are like huge broadcasting channels where you can catch up. So there are like many people on those chats. It's also incredibly popular with the crypto community, and they would just create chats with a lot of crypto enthusiasts on there, just sharing news about, I don't know, some new coin, where they would ask you to invest or just to look into it and whatnot. And quite many of those chats, they are not supposed to be private. They are just, you are doing your whatever public speech and you want more people to hear it, right? But it's not those chats that law enforcement is worried about.
Yeah.
Anyway, so.
Yeah, well, to me, this the fact that it's quite difficult to turn on end-to-end encryption if you're not an expert is one thing. But what's even worse, like you said, Neve, I think that Telegram knows that its encryption is difficult to turn on, but it's still marketing it as a feature, making their product as a secure messenger, and they also criticize platforms like Signal and others which are definitely safer, as far as I'm concerned, than Telegram, and implying that those systems are backdoored by the U.S. government. It's also quite hypocritical, knowing the unclear circumstances about Telegram and Durov and Russia and their relationship. So if you want to say something, please
I'm just thinking, and this is still the developing story, and we'll learn more details, every day. But I am wondering, so why didn't he, turn on that end-to-end encryption? Because that's what other companies do. They say like, oh, hello, we can hand you that information, but we don't have the keys to it, so we can't unlock that for you.
Exactly. So and that's related, I guess, to the background of the whole story of Telegram, because Durov started his other company, Contacte, way earlier, like it was 2000, the first decade of the 2000s, I think, and it was also widely popular and all that, but because the Kremlin didn't control it, they wanted to control it, and he was kind of forced to sell his shares, and he played, he said he was independent enough, he didn't give it information about Navalny and all that stuff, but then Telegram was born in 2013, and it also was quite popular, not at first, but it became more and more popular every year. Popular enough for the Russian authorities to ban it in 2018. The ban was lifted in a couple of years' time, like in 2020. But as Andrei Soldatov, one of the actually most prominent Russian experts on internet freedom and security services and their relationship, he's now, of course, living in exile. He points out that we still don't know why the ban was lifted in 2020, and that's the key point, I think, because, as Soldatov says, the Kremlin said Durov must not only ban extremist content, which allegedly he did on Telegram, but also wanted him to surrender Telegram's encryption keys that would allow authorities to read private conversations. And then, voila, Telegram was unblocked in June 2020. Had Durov made some sort of deal with the FSB, the Russia's Federal Security Service? We still don't know that, So I personally think that Moscow at least thinks that it can control or at least utilize Telegram and surveil its users that are most interesting to the government. And that's also why now, while Durov is still in France, Moscow, the puppet master of all these war porn artists and pro-war propagandists, really prevalent on Telegram, hackers of all kinds, crypto crooks, might be quite worried because in theory, and once again, because Telegram is not actually encrypted, Durov could agree to hand over these encryption keys or whatnot to the French authorities. Again, this is technically complicated because the EU laws forbid that, but this would allow the French to access the platform and any communications on it, and because the Russian government officials almost use Telegram as an official platform for communications and statements and all that. It's quite an issue, Ivan Zhdanov, current head of Navalny's anti-corruption foundation, has already warned this week if Durov knew that there was a case against him in France and he still chose to go there because there's a warrant a few days before he was actually detained. So he must have known. It could mean that Durov had made a deal with the authorities and he might be chirping around,
Well,
Again, this story is about to unravel. I think there's way more, and I think that my law enforcement might be looking for ways to get their hands on the information there, and we've seen times and times again what information and what services you can buy there on Telegram. It's the whole ecosystem. So you can, buy tools and services and hire people that you need for anything, like drugs, ransomware,
child porn.
It's like dark web.
Yeah, and then it is dark web, which is gig economy, which is like really easy to use. You just go there, you have money, say your price, buy stuff, and then also because there's a huge crypto community on there, and it's associated with Telegram. You can also launder money through crypto because there are some coins like Monero that are highly preferred by crypto. Not crypto, just criminals, because it's anonymous, and that's the problem, that Telegram offers the whole ecosystem for newbies, for dummies. So I think law enforcement is maybe trying to get under the hood here, and yes, there might have been a deal, and probably maybe he didn't hand data when he got individual requests for data, but maybe now we'll see a batch of it handed over again. But then I checked, I was trying to find Telegram transparency report. It's not that easy. I sent the request. I hope I'll get it at some point and we can compare. But then I went to look into Apple, Google, and Meta, how often they are being approached by law enforcement and how often do they share their data with law enforcement. So essentially, the approximate average is between 70 and 80% of requests. Google, Meta, Apple, they say, oh, okay, we give you that data, right? And also what is worrying, that there's a clause in the laws where you can ask for emergency assistance if you are in law enforcement, saying that you're just kind of calling Apple and saying that a person is in an immediate danger and we need that information or those chats right now, and then they hand over some information, some chats was needed.
Clauses,
so it's quite interesting.
Yeah.
But again, it's gonna unravel, I guess.
It is gonna unravel. Durov is saying, together with Telegram, that he has nothing to hide and that it's absurd to.
I bet he doesn't. It's all those
all
people
there.
on Telegram. They do.
Yeah, but I mean, when Telegram says that it's absurd to persecute a founder or a CEO of a platform,
I think that's wrong.
For the crimes taking place on the platform, I think that is absurd.
But he's not really being persecuted. He's being questioned in relation to someone else, like possessing child porn. So he's like a witness.
He's a witness, and because Telegram is basically a solo show, really.
Yeah, wild.
Why wouldn't he be questioned about it? Because he is probably solely responsible for whatever is going on there. And not responsible for the crimes that are taking place, but the whole ecosystem. It's his creation, it's his idea, and he's defending it with all his fucking brain power or whatnot. Because he is, in my mind, he's not a genius tech visionary or whatnot. He's a guy, a libertarian presumably, whose idea of free speech is quite, everyone can have a say, whatever they are and whoever they are, whatever they do, and there shouldn't be any kind of control from any government. But since everything basically has been moving online since over the last 20, 30 years, of course crimes have moved online as well. So why wouldn't law enforcement move online and battle the criminals online as well? I mean, they're still criminals, and there's child porn is a serious issue.
Yeah, and he can handle law enforcement, the keys to this dark kingdom, right?
Yeah.
So that
Yeah,
just
yeah.
makes sense. But it doesn't mean that he will face any consequences
No,
here.
but
Like
I mean,
he
this-
might
his-
lose business, some money.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
we saw, like Telegram associated coin, like really tumbled after his arrest. But
Yeah, but I mean, when he's saying that I'm not gonna cooperate with the Kremlin 10 years ago, I think he probably is not against it now, or he's forced to cooperate because the FSB, as various security professionals have pointed out, FSB has access to all these chats under the Russian law. So if they want to keep operating in the country where it is the most popular platform, they have to do it. So he's on the one hand, he's saying that I'm not going to give any kind of information to the Kremlin, and I'm not going to give any kind of information to the democratic government of France, the US, the UK, or whatnot. I guess he's basically equating these countries, which are definitely different in their attitude to human
yeah,
rights.
but also
and
I
whatnot.
don't see him as an idealist, as a dreamer. I think he'll just do whatever likes most convenient for him.
Yeah, Dubai will save him. They have already contacted the French over their citizen, But just to sum up, I guess from my side, I really have to quote Soldatov again, because I agree with it. He said, "No one other perhaps the tech titans themselves can really argue against evidence that unruly social media can cause a lot of damage. The time for unmoderated social media has long passed." And I agree with that. And yet, of course, quite how the regulation happens is still an open question, because I do think that the state, whatever it is, should have the ability to detain or at least question those who refuse to cooperate.
Yes.
He thinks, you're not Assange, you're not Snowden. Even those guys have an opinion about that. But, you can compare Durov to Zuckerberg, but Zuckerberg was invited and did come to a hearing or a few hearings
And he
in
hands
US Congress.
over a lot of information to law enforcement, 80%.
And
Yeah,
he,
of
and,
course.
and he has hired thousands of moderation professionals who do take
He
care.
tries, yes.
He tries. Yes, he's not successful most of the time, I guess, but he at least tries and puts an effort into it. I think Musk has modeled X after Telegram, by the way, because he's also employing. He's fired 90% of the workforce over the last 2 years or something.
Musk is something
They're all
else.
crazy.
So, but Zuckerberg, for instance, he cares about his reputation and Meta's reputation. So he does come to a hearing when he's invited to US Congress. He answers these questions. Durov has been avoiding law enforcement and their questions wherever the law enforcement was asking him to come.
Couldn't be bothered.
Yeah. 30 employees, by the way.
Yep, that is wild to me. That is insane. You've got nearly 1 billion users and you've got 30 employees and no HR. So that is wild. But speaking of wild, we have psychic readings,
That's too
And-
wild.
imposter psychic scams. Yes, it is quite wild, I think. You might already think psychic readings are a scam, but fraudsters are adding another layer to this spiritual practice. Victims are being scammed on Instagram and other social media platforms as people are impersonating tarot readers to aid their schemes and other psychic people, right? Yurgita?
But
People.
why did you say that, you might already think that online psychics are scams?
I already think that online
but
psychics
why?
is a scam.
Offline psychics
Because
as well, if I might add.
There's no evidence to suggest that anybody has any psychic ability. But I understand that there is no evidence to suggest that psychics are real or
But
aren't real.
why do you even need scientific backing here? I mean, I'm not, into that kind of stuff as well.
Mm-hmm.
But essentially, this is just people seeking out help in unconventional, ways. So that's just another way for them to kind of get some, healing, some guidance, whatnot.
Yeah, but people think it's going to fix their issues. I think that's the issue. That's where the scam lies, I think.
It really, really depends. Like some people out there, like psychics, they are just there to talk to you, to kind of share how they think about the world, right? And they're not there to solve specific problems for you. They're just kind of giving you some guidance and some counseling, and that just provides you another, let's say, surroundings, another background, spiritual realm, whatnot. Just kind of, it's like a place, a person where you go and talk and you think and whatnot.
Because the way that I've always understood psychics is that they have this extra sense almost, where it's like that thing where they have premonitions, they can see things that other people can't see, and maybe it is or isn't true, I don't know, but that's always how I've understood psychics. And I guess like spiritual mentors, whatever, like people that are taking those unconventional means and kind of using it to help people, that's cool. But the term psychic, I think, is, I don't know.
Yeah, we can call them like mystical practitioners or somehow else.
Okay.
Like just a term psychic, it doesn't refer to those people having like any magical abilities and whatnot features.
That's what it evokes.
Let's call them E-Gandalfs.
E-Gandalfs, yes. So these are people, who, like, let's say some of them turn to astrology and, they look for deeper meaning in the galaxy somewhere elsewhere. Some people, they learn how to, let's say, read tarot cards, and how to predict future. Yeah, but the problem is that since this is very, not shady, but it's mystical and we don't know how it works.
It's ambiguous.
Because it's not science, right? So we are not sure what rules they are supposed to follow. A lot of scams happen. And, I found this very funny complaint. I get that person is not amused at all. But, as you mentioned, some, imposter psychics or just scammers, they are trying to advertise as they're going to help you like solve your specific problem. So there was this website that would help you find your soulmate, right? So you kind of fill a request, you get a drawing in 48 hours, and then you are promised to meet that person from the drawing, in next 3 months. And a lot of people, and there are a lot of positive reviews saying that, oh, that person looked just like that drawing, right? So one woman, presumably...
How is that possible?
Yes.
How good is the artist, I wonder? Because
And what does he know?
yeah.
AI. Anyways, fake reviews, I bet.
Yeah, for sure.
I hope they're fake, not real,
yeah,
but it's just spooky.
Yeah.
Anyway, one woman turned to that website, paid the money, got the picture, didn't like the guy who was, drawn there, said that, okay, he looked like my dad, over 60s. She was presumably younger, like in her 30s or so. And she complained. They sent her like another drawing. She still didn't like it. Then in the end, she didn't meet that person in the next 3 months. And now she's asking for a refund because they scammed her.
Aha, because you were meant to marry a 60-year-old man that kind of looked like your dad.
There were
It's her fault.
red flags before that. But anyway, there are quite a lot of legitimate psychics, right? That, let's say they read... let's say legitimate.
Can I just intervene for a bit, just so you know my opinion about all that?
I can guess.
This is an enormous pile of hogwash, all of that.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Look, when we're going online, we're agreeing to terms and services, conditions, whatnot.
Yeah.
So when you are buying shit you don't need, you usually know what you're buying and how much you are paying. I think it goes the same for like the shoes I buy or like some clothes. It's still trash. I don't need it. The same way I don't need some tarot reading, right?
Yeah.
But I decide maybe to amuse myself,
Have a bit of fun, yeah.
For whatever reason, I go and, turn to some psychic for tarot reading. And there are a lot of really like popular tarot influencers on Instagram, right? And scammers are now scamming them. So what they do, they mimic their profiles. They create mirror profiles with similar names, profile pictures. They steal the pictures, make a similar profile, and then they go after their followers, approaching them like saying, oh, hi, do you want a tarot reading? I'm free today. I have a discount, whatnot. And these people are kind of, they don't probably double check. They are thinking that, they are chatting with their usual psychic. They pay the money. And then, of course, that money disappears. Then they reach out to the original, not the imposter psychic, saying, hey, where's my reading? Where's my money? And, they have nothing to do with it. So they're like, good name, being dragged through the mud here, because,
But it is a perfect scam, I think. Because I think there's like something about like the psychic, the way that I understand it to be like, okay, I can see something for you or whatever. Or like, I know what, I'm going to sort your whole life out. Just there's a sense of urgency and a sense of like mystique about it where it's like, oh, okay, maybe I'll give this a go. Maybe, it's like, but you've got to do it now. Like it's going to go, it's going to fade.
But also this is, again, as with alcoholics and their friends and family, we are talking about a vulnerable group of people here, right?
Yeah.
People go to psychics for, because they want a curse lifted or, they
reach
want
their loved ones or something like that.
Which is already crazy. And this is not, we know this is not backed by science, right?
Not the way to do it.
And these are the real imposters because what they do is they say that, oh, it turns out, that this is a really evil curse and you need to pay more than $200. That's going to be, $2,000 because this is a really, really evil spirit. And this goes on and on and on. And there are like a lot of threats there. It used to be just in person before, the internet. Now it's all online as well. Those scammers and fraudsters and criminals are kind of persecuting, blackmailing these gullible people into thinking, okay, that they are doomed now unless they pay like $10,000 to the scammer.
It's pretty sad.
But
it's really
at the
sad
same
and
time,
crazy.
it's a little bit, why you be gullible if you want. I mean, I don't care. Why wouldn't one want to take responsibility for their own actions, being gullible or not? If they
I
want,
don't
if they
think
want
they
to
understand
contact,
anything.
okay, but why is that our problem as a
It's not
society?
No,
it's not
our problem as a
Vulnerable
society.
people,
Neither
they're
is
vulnerable and
Telegram.
it's their own
No.
business to be
Neither is
vulnerable.
Telegram our problem as a society. You can opt out of that. You can.
Yeah,
You can
sure.
opt out of this too. You can just close the
But it's a
laptop
perfect
and-
scam because it's a
It
scam
is a
in the
perfect
first place,
scam.
and then once you're in, I mean,
Well,
come
yeah,
on.
because there's
Scam
no,
upon scam upon
Yeah, yeah.
scam,
There's no way
and
to-
gullible people. They are, perfect victims. Perfect.
for sure. If you're naive and you believe, wholeheartedly in these kinds of things without trying to see the alternative angle, then
well,
sure.
just education might help, really.
Well, yeah, but some people are.
Yeah,
maybe
but that's because they're
beyond
uneducated
return.
and they're reading shit on social media. That's why as well. Yeah.
Yeah, true that. Okay, so another interesting story I have
Is
here.
it?
I think this is a great story.
Oh, this one is
personally.
hilarious.
This one is hilarious. So, in a wild turn of events, one dad hacked his way into jail by faking his own death to avoid paying child support. The child support payment was roughly $100,000, but the price he paid for this crime was much, much greater.
But even in fine, now he owes double the money
Yes.
to the state.
So
right?
He
really-
died and then lived and then has to pay.
Double, yeah. So a man called Jesse Kipf, I think it is, hacked into the Hawaii death registry system using another person's credentials, already not great, to file a case for his own death. Yep, he faked his own death to get out of paying child support. It's actually wild. I don't know how somebody could be so technically maybe smart or in the know, but be so stupid to think that this was going to work. Surely, I don't know. So he was legally dead on various government databases.
Okay.
He assigned himself as the medical certifier and forged a signature of a doctor
On his death certificate.
Yeah, on his death
certificate.
Death
Okay.
certificate, yeah. But it didn't stop there. He hacked into a computer and obtained information from the protected device to steal somebody's identity. So, I mean,
Because he wanted to live on,
Exactly.
obviously.
exactly.
Another life.
makes total sense, but is just entirely idiotic. But
How was he caught?
Good question. I don't exactly know, but
I don't think there were details
No.
shared by law enforcement.
Maybe
on
his,
this.
his former partner saw him on the street. I don't know, or his child waved to him. Hi, daddy.
I mean, it's crazy with this like hacking power and wires in his head. He could have like stolen 100,000 in crypto or like do a psychic scam or
Yeah.
like something like that and just bail the child support. But no,
I want to die.
maybe
But not really.
Maybe he didn't want to meet that child anymore. It's like, oh, I can't have any more visits.
Stop.
Yeah,
Well,
but
maybe it wasn't about the money though.
Yeah,
I
maybe.
don't know. But I mean, just don't do it on a computer because, as we have mentioned numerous times, everything stays online. Whatever you do, I guess. Just do it the old-fashioned way. You have to know someone who knows someone who knows someone. There's like a little shop. You go upstairs. You forge a passport. There's a new one. Blah blah blah.
But he
And
didn't
then
have
you
like a
go
life
on.
insurance policy or anything. I
Yeah,
assume.
that's weird.
Like it's just like I don't want to pay child support. It's $100,000. That's a bit too much money. You know what? I'm gonna pretend to die, and then maybe
Must have
he
been a
just,
wild romance there.
maybe he just wanted to live off grid, which it's commendable,
It's not really
but to-
possible anymore.
Yeah,
is
but
it?
I think you could, even legally just go to another country that has like no, let's say, connections with your country, and then
Yeah, there's
they're
no
not gonna
extradition
persecute.
treaty, for
Yeah, yeah.
instance, yeah. Russia, always a choice.
yeah, but then you're like, oh, maybe I like to live in the States, but I don't want to be here anymore.
And it's
So-
Hawaii as well.
Yeah, it's crazy.
He liked his life, but just didn't want to pay the money. But move, no.
Yeah,
Too
move
much
move
effort.
away. Just ignore the debt and hope for the best. But no, he hacked into the system, changed a lot of things.
Well, he hacked into
Committed various
government
crimes.
websites
Also
and
go-
systems
yeah.
as well. So that's how I think he
Yeah.
actually was caught.
That's level of crazy.
Yeah. But if he wasn't caught like for a while, of course you get braver, and you say they don't care.
But it was
Oh,
obviously
I'll just go on.
it was obviously a kind of well thought out plan because he was like, right, I'm gonna make it so it looks like I'm dead. Then I'm gonna steal somebody else's identity, and then he also hacked into a load of other.
And then I'm gonna
systems
become a
and-
billionaire or something.
Well, yeah. Well, he hacked into other systems, including like businesses, government, corporate networks, and using stolen credentials, all this kind of stuff.
Crazy.
So, yeah. Well, now he will serve a minimum of 5 years in prison. His sentence was for 6, but he needs to serve like 85% of his term. And
So smart yet so dumb.
so dumb. And he has to pay 200,000 now.
Yeah. But he will be able to work in prison and then make
Yeah, for
money,
what?
though.
Peanuts?
Yeah, that's peanuts.
He might actually die in prison.
Maybe. Or he
How
might
old
hack
is
his
he?
way out
Come
of prison.
on.
If he hacked his way in, he can
No,
hack his
not
way
because
out.
of age, because of, I don't know.
Oh, he's
riots or something.
34, I believe. 34, 36.
It's fine.
So he's
then.
young. I just wonder, you think you'd put those skills to good use? No, I'm going to pretend that I'm dead.
Also, he sounds like typical genius, where like people can figure out quantum entanglement, but then makes 7 little doors for every kid in their own like that door. The rumor goes about Einstein that he did this.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It-
Oh, well, all right then. Thank you very much for listening in, and tune in next week for another Cybernews podcast. If you enjoyed this podcast, leave a like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.